In this lesson, we'll be going over the fundamentals of perspective. So a perspective is the way that we are viewing our world around us. And so this world has lots of shapes, and the way we're looking at them is a perspective. And so one way to kind of show this is that if we have just a floating eyeball, now this actually represents our eye looking at these two different lengths here, and they're both the same. But the way that this information is traveling back to our eye or the camera is actually a little bit skewed. So you can see this represents our plane of view. And so the way that these intersect with that plane kind of make it look like one of these is smaller than the other, even though it's not. And so if we take a look at this metro here, and we start to line up some of these lines here. So I'm just going to grab our line tool. I'm going to just start with this one up here and just grab this line. I'm just lining that up and just going to drag that straight down about right there. And then let's grab one of these other ones over here. I'm just going to line this up. Just drag this right over. And so you can see that they actually start to meet. And so these two meet up about right there. And then these meet up here. And so now that I kind of have an idea of where all these start to meet, now I can just drag out. And wherever I drag this line, even this little compartment over here, so not only is it lined up with this little, I don't know what this is, hanging down, but all these little grids here in the ceiling of this train station all line up. Even this yellow line over here, they all line up to this one point. Now this is called a vanishing point. And so what that tells me is that this photograph has 1 point perspective, meaning that everything that is going away from me all lines up in one converging point. And so I can even take this, and so this is a reflection over here. I could take from this vanishing point and actually draw out onto this reflection, and everything is still lined up over here as well. So very, very cool. But not everything is this simple. So if we take a look at this photo right here, and so this ground is maybe not perfectly level. And so as we start to line things up, it looks like everything is going to be all right. Maybe I can use these bricks and start to line them up as well. And I have these bricks right here. I can kind of start to line up. And so in a way, this is starting to work. If I start to even line up these poles, we do start to have what seems like a very definitive vanishing point. But if I were to start to line up this wall, so this wall in a way is starting to line up, except that this wall was built using one level and the road is built using another level. And so what that tells me is that all these lines are probably perfectly level with like using one of those actual levels, but this road just probably curves with the contours of the earth. And so, it's not going to be as perfect every time. And so this, even though this is, more of a 1 point perspective, we just have some things that don't quite line up. Now let's take a look at what 2 point perspective and isometric are. And so isometric is a drawing that is done, it's like a mechanical drawing where we have everything is parallel. And so we have all these almost horizontal lines are all parallel with each other. And these are used to just kind of demonstrate, let's say, if you had an instruction booklet and you wanted to know all the parts that were included and the screws and how things went together, this would be helpful so that things aren't, let's say, like smaller, so the one behind wouldn't be smaller than this screw over here if it was going to go inside this. And so this same drawing drawn in 2 point perspective makes this one actually seem like it's distorted. So if I were to maybe hide this one might seem okay, but then when we actually look at this same drawing in 2 point perspective, then it actually looks like the other one is distorted. So if we take a look at, let me bring up these opacities a little bit for these trajectory lines. And so this drawing has 1 point over here, and then another point that's far off of our canvas that is lining up everything in this drawing. And so that is 2 point perspective. And then all of these vertical lines all are just perfectly parallel with each other. So that is 2 point. Now let's take a look at 3 point perspective. And so with this photograph, we have all these lines for these buildings have a perspective point on this side. And so if we take and start to drag these out, then you can see that they all seem to go to this one vanishing point over here. I could even drag out some guides to help with that. So they'd be about right here is where these vanishing points go. So at this point, I could even take the top of this building, and it's going to line up right about there. And so we have this other side though. Let's go ahead and drag this out, and we'll start here and drag this one out as well. And so it looks like we have a vanishing point on this side that is about, let's say about right here. And so that is our second vanishing point. And then we have a third one though with this specific drawing, because we are at a more like a worm's eye view, because we're looking up at these buildings. And so our horizon is actually pretty low in this photograph. And so if we were to drag these out, they would kind of go off our canvas here a little bit. And so if it's kind of hard to see, but I could drag this out pretty high here. And then we could take this one and drag this one out. And so they're going to meet a little off of our recording area, but they do meet, meaning that these vertical lines are not parallel with each other. They actually do have a converging point, or a point of perspective. And so, or a vanishing point. So that means that we have 3 points of perspective in this drawing, or in this photograph. And so where all of these vertical lines converge, since they are above us, that is the zenith. And then if we were at a bird's eye view, meaning if we were above this city looking down, then all of these vertical lines would meet down below. And so that would be a nadir, meaning that the converging point is down below us. And so that is a quick rundown on our 1-point, 2-point, 3-point perspective, and even our isometric perspective drawing. And so in our next lesson, we're going to draw some objects using 1-point perspective.